Well, the dental industry, especially DSOs, it's a hot target market for private equity. And the reason why is because it's still a very fragmented industry, meaning consolidation, which can bring a lot of value if it's done right, is still ripe to be taken. Welcome to my 5-part masterclass on how private equity works. Now, private equity, for some, these two words can stir up excitement. For others, sometimes it can bring anxiety. So we're here to break all this down simply, clearly. 5 quick minutes, you're going to understand what private equity is, how it works, and what it means to your dental organization or DSO. Part number 1, what is private equity? Private equity is just a type of investment. It's basically, instead of buying stocks in the public market like you buy Apple stock or Tesla stock, the private equity actually buys into private businesses, companies that are not traded on Wall Street. They usually raise large pools of money from other investors, and these are called limited partners. And to be clear, the private equity group's customers are the limited partners. They're trying to generate great returns for them. The operating company that they invest in or they buy is not their customer. And that's a really, really important distinction if you're going into this type of a relationship. The private equity will usually try to buy a controlling stake or buy out the company completely. And they generally have a thesis that they are going to be able to grow and improve the organization in some way and bring greater enterprise value. So you want to think of private equity firms like business builders. They don't just buy to hold, they buy to build value, and they want to do it fast. So why do PE firms love dental, and why do they love DSOs? Well, the dental industry, especially DSOs, it's a hot target market for private equity. And the reason why is because it's still a very fragmented industry, meaning consolidation, which can bring a lot of value if it's done right, is still ripe to be taken. It is generally a recession-resistant business. It has low default rates and other metrics like that are favorable to the private equity group. They also see that the dental industry is still growing, and the faster the growth, the more excited the private equity will be about participating in that industry. So PE firms see opportunity to consolidate, streamline, and actually scale organizations, or in other words, buy multiple practices, make them more efficient, and grow their enterprise value over time. So now that we have that understood, let's now go to part 3 of the masterclass, how the private equity model actually works. So the private equity buys a business or invests in one. Then they grow it fast, organically and through acquisition. Next, they're going to do everything they can to squeeze and improve the margins of the business and tighten up and get really efficient in the operations of the organization. And then they will plan to exit in 3 to 7 years. And usually this is by selling to a larger private equity firm or possibly to a strategic buyer who's interested either in the geography, the clinical modalities, or something that they feel there would be a synergy around. When the private equity exits, they want to sell for much more than they bought for. This is a very important thing to think about, because if you want to sell the private equity, you can't have taken all the meat off the bone, so to speak. There has to be lots of growth opportunities still in your DSO over the long haul to really entice private equity to get excited about what you're doing and what you're building and where it's going to go. Basically, the timeline graphic here is they buy, they improve, and then they sell. Or maybe another way to say it is they enter, they grow it, and then they exit. So this is called a multiple on invested capital, or MOIC, or MOIC is what it's referred to. And they're aiming to try to get a 2x, a 3x, heck, maybe even a 5x return on their investment. And remember those limited partners. The limited partners are over here hoping for great returns at the hand of the private equity group. And so there's a relationship there that 2, 3, or 5x, there's expectations that are there that sometimes can make it a little wonky within running the business on a day-to-day basis. So it ultimately ends up for the private equity about the return. That's what drives nearly every decision that a private equity firm makes. And it's important. We understand what they're thinking, then we can work within those parameters. So what does all this mean for you? Well, if you lead a DSO or a group practice, it could mean that private equity could be a very incredible growth partner if you're ready to scale. If you're not ready to scale, if your systems and processes aren't dialed up, this could be problematic. For the buyer, when you're ready to exit, what I'm trying to say here is this could be great for your group if you're ultimately looking to either exit your business or take chips off the table. A partnership with private equity could potentially facilitate that. And we've seen that some in the dental industry. This could also be a catalyst for creating systems and enterprise value. So if perhaps the business has been a little neglected in terms of operational efficiency and financial efficiency, there could be this sort of turnaround or improvement opportunity that could reap really, really nice returns for the investor. Obviously, we have this potential upside versus potential risk when we do this, when we partner with private equity. But here's the truth. Private equity firms expect performance. They have very high expectations about reporting requirements. They expect very tight financial discipline. They expect there to be growth targets that are achievable and will be hit. And sometimes there are leadership changes. Whoever's been the CEO ultimately the private equity may not like the direction that they're going, and they may want to change out that CEO, even if they've been there for a long time. I've seen this. You guys have heard about all, these things happening as well. But sometimes leadership changes are a reality that occur when private equity comes in. If you're not prepared, especially if your numbers aren't dialed in and you haven't gotten a lot of operational efficiency behind you and under you, you can really get crushed in this process. So you really want to think hard about if you would move forward. So some final quick thoughts for the masterclass. Private equity, it's not good and it's not bad. What it is it's a powerful tool. But like any tool, you have to use it wisely. So understand the model, know your numbers, build your business on a strong foundation. That way, when PE comes knocking, you're not scrambling, but you're leading. This is so important. If you are rocked on your heels in meeting number one with the private equity, we've got a problem. You want to step away and you want to go get it so that you are on the balls of your feet, ready to go. You've got everything that they need. I can't tell you the difference it makes in valuation, in everything else, if you are on the offensive and not on the defensive when you start to have conversations with private equity. And some of the things you can do are, organize your financial statements so they're just clean and they're tight and ready to go, and be proactive in getting that to them. Don't wait for them to ask. Deliver it to them on a silver platter, ready to go. Lots more ideas and suggestions there. Happy to chat with any of you if you'd like to. So I hope that this masterclass has been helpful. I hope that there are some good takeaways for you here. And whether you're PE backed or you're just getting started, I appreciate you for watching, and I encourage you to keep building.